Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about how to fail-proof your diet. We're going to just go over reasons why diets fail and how you can take any diet. We'll talk about a couple of different fad diets that are popular right now and talk about ways that we can help to hopefully improve even those diets to try to make them successful. Before we get started, though, I want to mention that in 1 week from now, we will go live with our next nutrition kickstart that we're doing. This nutrition challenge is going to be more of a performance focused. So we're going to be talking about how to feel for fitness, how to survive going out to eat, whether that's going to parties or weddings, going to fast food restaurants, sit-down restaurants, food trucks, different things like that, where you are a little less in control of the food that you are that you have available and how to make the smartest choices when you're in front of those options. We'll also be doing a live in-person grocery store tour where I'm going to be talking to you about how to kind of take the products that are on the shelf and triage those products to decide, okay, what's the priority here? Do I look at, the price, or is it the nutrition, and like how to figure out of the 25 options of spaghetti sauce, for example, that are on the shelf, which one is going to be best for helping you to meet your health, wellness, nutrition goals. And then we're also going to be talking about hydration and supplementation. So talking about the different supplements that are out there on the market, which ones are really worth the money and worth your time. And we're going to talk about vitamins and minerals as well. We're going to have somebody come in from a different, from Natural Grocers. She's going to be joining us. She specializes in supplements, so she's going to be able to help us with like getting more information about minerals and vitamins and what's available at Natural Grocers where she works. And then talking about different ways of hydrating, specifically as an athlete. And then we're going to be talking about competition eating, because the next challenge is going to finish right before we kick off with the CrossFit Open. So we're going to talk about how to eat before and after a workout, how to recover from a workout with nutrition, how to feel for competition day, and different ways that you can help have your nutrition not just be there to help you with like your health and wellness goals or for fat loss or for muscle gain, but also specifically having nutrition on your side when you are in the middle of a competition, so that you can have a little bit of an edge on those people that are competing next to you. So that nutrition challenge is going to kick off on the 6th of February, Saturday next week. But before we kick off with the challenge, you have to have an appointment with the nutrition coach, which is me. We meet, we talk about your goals, and then we do a scan through our InBody. So we can tell you what your muscle weighs, what your fat weighs, and what your body fat percentage is. We can also tell you like how well you are hydrated. That is something that has to be completed before the kickoff on Saturday. So the cutoff for registration for the nutrition challenge is going to be Wednesday of next week. So if you guys, there's a QR code printed out pretty big up at the front of the gym. So you can point your phone camera at that. You can fill out the Google sheet or the Google form, and I will contact you so that we can make that first appointment. And then we also set your goals at that meeting as well. So, John, is there anything that you want to add to any of that?
No, I think other than the prizes are going to be pretty good. You and I put together a pretty healthy list. Top prize on that challenge for a female, top prize on the challenge for the male. Some good money, some good food through some business partners we have, and maybe even a clothing gift card. So some good stuff coming to the winter. We talked about it, putting a good carrot out there because we really are passionate that if you fuel your body to become a better athlete, whether you believe you're an athlete or not, that you have overall health benefits that tie in, not necessarily, may not even see it on the scale, but you'll feel it in your skin and in your mind and in your body. And it's so valuable. And, if we even gain an inch there through 28 days, because we're only competing against ourselves. So it's percent of an improvement over the 28 days, then you win. There's no way to lose. So it's going to be a good group of people, I think. And I don't know, I think it's going to be great. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Okay, so we are going to start the presentation for today. So I'm going to be talking about how to fail-proof your diet. All right, let's get started. So we've mentioned it a few times, I think, that we've paired with Healthy Steps Nutrition because we feel like something that is as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated. So Healthy Steps Nutrition helps with just building a strong foundation so that we can meet your short-term and your long-term goals, help you feel confident in your skin. So let's dive right into those top 3 reasons why your diet may be failing you and what we can do to help you with making it fail-proof, whether you're following a nutrition program that we're providing for you, or you're trying to follow your own diet. We want to make sure that you guys are successful and that we're providing you with the tools that you need. Tip number one reason why diets fail is because they're too restrictive. So tip number 1 is going to be to try to be to avoid restriction in your diet. So this is where we're going to talk about some different fad diets that are out there right now. The weight loss market is worth, last I checked, it was $71 billion in 2020. So that industry targets our emotions, our insecurities, and the fact that we are a microwave society. So we hope to have those quick results with whatever we're choosing to do. So we want to make sure, we hope to have those changes happen quickly, and we want to see those changes happen right away. But because of this, they are able to market things like low carb, no fat, no sugar. In other words, diet trends that are just no fun, but they can promise that you will lose 30 pounds in 30 days. We all seen those claims on the magazines that are sitting at the front of the grocery store. So there's so much information out there that people get confused. They try the most drastic, the most restrictive diets that ultimately lead to losing weight quickly. But then as soon as you go back to your old ways, or you stop with the restrictive diet, then you go back to binging on those foods that you've been restricted from, and you gain it back. So this is a very common cycle. Largely the reason that diets don't work for long term is because you're not making sustainable habits. So we want to help you with building sustainable habits that will lead to healthier, happier, and a more balanced life. So this is that cycle that we just talked about. There's many different studies on diets. And for the vast majority of us, we have found that we're setting ourselves up for failure. There was a study done by the National Institute of Health regarding restricting sugar from diets that states that many people try to lose weight by periodically forbidding themselves from eating certain foods. But depriving yourself of tasty food can backfire because it can activate the brain's stress system, causing anxiety and withdrawal-like symptoms. So that leads you to overeat the forbidden food once you finally get a chance to eat it. In other words, the well-known restrict binge cycle. So we're going to talk now about 2 big fad diets and how they can help or hinder your weight loss and health and wellness goals. So first, I'm going to talk about intermittent fasting. This is a big one that's come up a lot in my nutrition consults or just conversations on a daily basis. This is a pretty popular diet right now. So the simple definition of this, intermittent means sometimes, and fasting means not eating. So sometimes you just don't eat. Well, the post-absorptive or fasted state typically is going to occur 12 to 18 hours after eating. And your nutrients come, in theory, your nutrients come from your own body. So there's no external energy. The changes occur to your metabolic chemistry within your body. So the most common method for intermittent fasting is the 16-8 method. So out of the 24 hours a day, then you spend 14 to 16 hours fasting every day, and you only eat during a time window of 8 to 10 hours. So the benefits that can come from intermittent fasting, of course, there is a big possibility that you will lose weight. That is from being fasted and from consuming less overall calories. There has been some evidence that this can be beneficial for metabolic health, and intermittent fasting can teach people to learn to cope with the feeling of being hungry. So unfortunately, intermittent fasting is not going to be ideal if you are an athlete, which most of our clients that come in wanting help with nutrition are athletes. You are moving your body with intention. You are using up calories probably quicker than somebody that maybe doesn't move a lot in their daily job or just regular basis. So chronic fasting can sometimes also lead to hormonal imbalances. So overall, kind of just to recap, intermittent fasting, it works. Like a lot of these fad diets, it works, but the way that it works is by giving you a calorie deficit. So it's not necessarily going to change your life, but it can give you those results. It just depends on how long do you want to continue with intermittent fasting. If you want to do intermittent fasting, we recommend that you make sure that you are consuming adequate calories and macronutrients during your daily eating window. You want to focus on whole foods and balancing your plate to make sure that you get those adequate micronutrients as well, because if we are not taking in enough vitamins and minerals, then your body starts like breaking down your bones and your muscles and things like that in order to get those nutrients. And you want to make sure that you are also drinking adequate water while you are fasting. So the next diet that we're going to talk about is keto. This is another one that's come up a lot. It's kind of, the focus is minimal to no carbs, and it causes your body to go into what's called ketosis. So ketosis is a backup process within the body that naturally happens. It converts fatty acids into fuel. The byproduct of converting that is going to be a ketone. So generally, 60 to 75% of your calories when you're in a ketogenic diet are going to come from fat, and 15 to 30% of your calories are going to come from protein, with 5 to 10% of your calories coming from carbs. So potentially the benefits that people have reported that they think clearer, or they may be less hungry on this diet. Part of the science behind that is the fact that fat is going to be a lot slower digesting than carbs and protein are. And so that can provide that satiety of being less hungry. Studies have shown that this diet is also beneficial for your brain health whenever you have already in place brain damage, epilepsy, or if you've had a traumatic brain injury. So that's who this diet was actually created for, was people who were epileptic that needed that neuroprotection. Unfortunately, there is no no advantage for metabolic health or weight loss, and there's no benefit that's been shown for performance. But there is a little bit of evidence out there that it may be beneficial for the ultra marathoners. And again, it's related to that high fat and the longer amount of time that it takes to digest fat. So it just digests slower for those people that are in those super long endurance runs. So it's important to watch out for food products and processed artificially sweetened products that are on the market that are marketed as being keto or keto friendly, because a lot of these products contain artificial sweeteners that are processed by your liver. So in the body, the way that sugar works is every cell in your body can process glucose. That is the sugar that's needed in your body to feed all of the processes in your body. However, when you come to those artificial sweeteners, like for example, sucrose or Splenda, that is something that is only processed by your liver. So sometimes that can create like elevated liver enzymes, and it can just cause a little bit of extra inflammation in the body. So if you are wanting to follow a keto diet, we recommend that you meet your higher fat content. You want to make sure that your protein is at least moderate and that your lower carb has good micronutrients. So making sure that you are focusing on whole foods, not keto friendly products. And we encourage that you take in lean meats and try to get your fat sources from nuts, seeds, healthy oils, and whole eggs are also going to be a really good source of fat as well. Ideally, you want your fats to come from plant-based sources. So on the other side of that, ideally, at the end of the day, the more restrictive diets are not going to work on building healthy, sustainable habits. So they really just cause you sometimes stress and anxiety until you break, which leads to binging. So this is why 80% of those people who lose weight will regain the weight back whenever they go back to, when they come off of that diet. So an easy solution is to first choose whole foods options with good protein, healthy fats, and carbs. Yes, carbs are important. And then also making sure that you have a good basis of veggies in your diet as well. So next, we encourage you to find a more mindful balance with treats. Rather than going all week refraining from any little treats that can lead, and then on the weekend, you've got Sunday Fun Day where you have overconsumption and then you feel sick. So you find a mindset where you have those treats throughout the week. If you can find a mindset where you have those treats throughout the week, but just in mindful portion sizes, that's going to be more beneficial than restriction during the week and binging on the weekend, which is something that has come up several times in my consultations with clients. So that can help with feelings of anxiety or stress related to food, but it helps you to create a more positive relationship with your body and with your food. So you want to make sure that you're listening to your hunger cues as well as your fullness cues. And one thing that I've learned recently with all the help that I've provided to our athletes is that having a nutrition coach is really a great way to help you with finding that balance. So step number 2, reason number 2 why diets fail is going to be inconsistency. So the tip that we provide to help fail-proof your diet is going to be consistency, trying to be consistent with the choices that you're making. So raise your hand if you've ever heard of the 80-20 rule. I know I have. This is kind of taking us back to that last thing that I just talked about. Most of us have heard of the 80-20 rule as far as food goes, and or at least we try to practice that 80-20 rule and basically what that means is that 80% of your diet is perfect And then 20% is kind of that iffy, trying to make the best choices that I can, but not going overboard. So that's what the ideal picture of the 80-20 rule is. But reality typically ends up being Monday through Friday, everything's perfect, and that's our 80%. And then 20%, we turn into the hungry caterpillar, and we eat everything in sight. Pizza, beer, ice cream, all the things, you get the idea. So this rule is so appealing because it allows you to remain inconsistent with your habits. And that's also a big reason why a lot of diets will fail. So a study that was published back in 2017 on PubMed suggests that there is still a lot of debate regarding what is going to be the most optimal weight loss diet. But evidence suggests that regardless of what diet you are following, the number one rule is going to be adherence to that diet, regardless of the diet. And it's going to be the most important factor as far as finding success is whatever you're choosing to do, make sure that you are consistent with it. So in other words, reason number one of being a highly restricted diet is what leads to reason number two for failure of inconsistency. So there's a study from Dansinger et al. Reports a strong association between self-reported adherence on a scale of 0 to 10 and weight loss, and that is with weight loss following 4 different diets. So and there's another study that I read that talks about diet adherence scores, which is significantly correlated with the weight loss at 12 months when people were looking at 3 different diets. So consistency is really going to be the key to making sure that your diet is successful. So adherence is strongly associated with weight loss success over the short period and long term. Knowing this, the solution becomes a little bit more obvious, I think. You should be finding the best balanced path so that you can make sure that you stick to your diet, whatever you're choosing, regardless of what situation you're in. So this will take us back to the talk that I'm going to do in the nutrition challenge. In 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be talking about how to survive eating food outside of your home. So if you're able to follow a diet or a nutrition plan where you can adapt what is in front of you to meet the needs that you have in your nutrition plan, that's going to be most successful because it's going to help you with just changing your habits a little bit at a time so that your normal everyday activities fall in line with your diet. So number 3, reason why diets fail is going to be because you're doing it alone. So the tip that we have for making your diet fail-proof is don't do it alone. Wanting to lose weight or change your body in any way, or even just starting on a fitness journey, or trying to change your eating pattern, it's emotional and intimate and so difficult. I mean, this is conversations that I have on a daily basis. I sit down with somebody and I start asking them about their nutrition. Just tell me about your day. Tell me from the time that you wake up until you go to bed, what do you eat? And people open up and they tell me their life story, because so much of our life is tied up with our food choices and nutrition and the way that food makes you feel, whether it's changing the way that you feel when you are active in the gym or just spending time with your kids, with your family, and then or if it's the way that it makes you feel as far as like guilt from that restriction binge cycle. So you want to make sure that that's something that you're not having to face alone. So we try to make sure that, ideally this journey should be simple, but that does not always mean that it's going to be easy. Emotion, stress level, energy level, relationships, all of those things are tied directly to consumption and the food that we take in, and our relationships. Like, food is love, and that's one of the things that I always tell the parents of my babies that I'm taking care of in the hospital. Food is love. This is how we love on each other. So you want to make sure that you're not doing it alone, especially when it comes to making big changes to your diet, because when you have other people, like, for example, living in your home with you, and if they don't make the changes, it makes it really difficult for you to be successful. So whenever I was building this PowerPoint in January, the beginning of this month, I found this memory. It came up in my Facebook talking about this was 10 years ago when I lost 50 pounds. And I did it alone because I was so afraid of failure. I didn't talk to anybody about my weight loss goals. I didn't post any pictures on my Facebook. I didn't have any friends on the app that I use to keep my food log. Like, I just really didn't talk to anybody about it because I was so afraid of failure that I didn't want to have anybody out there trying to reel me back in when I had those days of lack of motivation. So it's really important. I like to call it an accountability buddy, having somebody that holds you accountable. I've got a picture here in a couple slides that I'll show you guys where you kind of see this dynamic. I think it really brings it into perspective for me. So, bringing it back to accountability, it's really important to have somebody in your life that is that little voice in the back of your head that tells you, keep it up. You can, you need to keep going. Remember your why. Remember, like, writing down, I want to lose some inches, or I want to be able to tie my shoes and breathe at the same time. I mean, like, having that why is so important because that's going to help you with bringing back into the forefront, like, what is the reason why I'm wanting to do all of this when it gets hard, because it gets hard to keep going. So the solution to that reason number 3 of doing it alone, why diets fail, is don't do it alone. One study that I found showed that people who enrolled in a weight loss program with their friend did a better job of keeping their weight off than somebody who did it alone. In addition to teaming up with friends, the participants in that study were given social support in addition to standard treatment, and 2/3 of those people who had the additional support kept the weight off for 6 months or longer, while only 1/4 of those that did not have the additional support found the same success. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody in your life what your goals are, why they are your goals, and why they're important to you. In that way, you can have somebody that brings that back up when you are losing that motivation. One option that you have for that additional support and accountability, of course, you've got us here at CrossFit Throne. You've got nutrition coach that's available. You've got John available. And then we have a great community. Those who are already part of our CrossFit Throne family on Facebook, we've got a great community. If one of us needs help, we're all there to help each other. So I want to show you guys this graphic. A lot of you that work out at the gym, you've seen this picture. This is kind of a dynamic talking about the foundation of the nutrition or the fitness pyramid is nutrition. So John's written here that 60 to 80% of changing from that illness to being healthy to being fit is going to be improving your nutrition. And I think that's where we want to provide that extra help to you guys, because whether it's just sitting down with me and having that initial free consult where I talk to you about, okay, what are you doing right now? And where can we find a little bit of opportunity for improvement? Because sometimes just having that little conversation is going to be enough of a feedback for you guys to make the change on your own. So having the motivation to come and ask those questions, whether you're asking me or you're asking John questions about nutrition, that's going to be your motivation. And then having the discipline to follow through on any recommendations that are provided to you, whether you're coming to me or you're going to John or you're just researching or doing Weight Watchers or something like that. Having that discipline to keep yourself going whenever it starts to get difficult, or you're like at the grocery store and making those decisions, because you only have to make the decision one time at the grocery store, but if you bring home that bag of cookies, you got to make that decision how many times, how many cookies are in the box. So that's the discipline. But when those two things fail, the thing that's going to help you to see success so that you can get from illness to health to fitness to that competence and dominance is going to be having accountability. Somebody that's going to say, hey, you told me your goal is this, and you told me that you want to meet that goal because of this reason. What's the barrier? How can I help you to get past that barrier? So having that accountability, whether it's me or John, or just somebody like your partner at home that you bring in to help you make those changes, you need to find an accountability buddy, somebody that's going to help you with bringing your goals back into view. So as we've seen, restricted diets marketed to the public, inconsistent, they cause inconsistency in your nutrition choices, and then having a lack of support. Those are going to be the three main reasons why diets fail. So we want to make sure that you guys feel empowered to change the narrative, find the results that you've been looking for. If you want it, come get a nutrition coach. You guys, there's a little QR code on our nutrition board that's posted now next to the bathroom at the front of the gym. You can just point your camera on your phone at that QR code, and it goes to a link so you can fill out a form for a free nutrition intro appointment with me. And we can sit down and we can just talk about what is your goal. And one of the things that I can talk to you about, even if you don't sign up for nutrition coaching, is just let's find your inner circle. Let's find out, because the people that you spend the most time with are the people that are going to be the most influential in your life, in helping you to take inventory of who is your inner circle and how are they helping me to succeed. And maybe somebody that's already come and talked to me might be part of your inner circle, and they're like, hey, I need an accountability buddy, and I can help pair you guys up. So the most important thing though is going to be finding a balance and a sustainable plan that you can stick to. So that's all that I have for the nutrition talk today. We've talked about the top 3 reasons why diets fail and what you can do to change the tune and make sure that your diet is going to be fail-proof. What questions do you guys have? Whether you're on the Facebook Live or Whit, John, anything you want to add? Anything you want to add, John? Thanks, Isaac.
I think what I might say, and I just want to touch on a couple of things. We talk a lot about how to do a proper deadlift or how to do a proper squat or how to, get our elbows in the right direction on a push-up or how to do a good pull-up or how to breathe when we're rowing. But we don't talk a lot about what I would say, how to really eat. And I think that I shared with you my passion for this, a while back. And then of course you were already doing this. And so it was a natural fit for you to step into the role of nutrition coach here. But I think that it is as equally important, if not more important, that we help people understand how to fuel their bodies appropriately and stop this chronic disease pattern where we're just constantly, binging on terrible foods and then eating less terrible foods barely and eating out all the time, and how many restaurants there are in Lubbock already anyway, and how life just gets so busy and we're so caught up in our kids' lives and there's no time for us, and we're just ready, whatever, just give me a little food so I don't get mad at the kids because my blood sugar is dropping anyway and I've got a case of the hangries, how to get through life in a way that makes sense. I guess it'd be like telling somebody how to do all those cool things like deadlifts and pull-ups and push-ups and burpees and running and rowing, and then it's like giving somebody a great car and then not telling them where the fuel tank is or how to put any gas in it.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about how we value all the athletes that walk into our space and how excessively valuable. Everybody that comes in here is a rare, priceless Ferrari, rare, priceless Corvette, just an incredibly valuable their body is incredibly valuable to them, and their health and their livelihood is valuable. No one would give any of that. They wouldn't sell any piece of that to anybody for any price. It's too valuable. So if that's where they're at, and we're treating them that way as they come in, but we're not teaching them how to put fuel in the tank or how to put spark plugs in there and let it fire up and let it run, great. It's just going to sit there in the driveway and do nothing. It's going to sit there and do not. It's not even going to look good. It's probably even just, it's going to get worse just sitting there, And any car guy, I'm not a grease monkey, but some guys that get under the hood, the longer a car just sits there, the worst situation it gets into. And so what the nutrition side does is it does put fuel in that tank, and it teaches you how to do that in a way that is most productive and most effective. Yeah. And then over time, you have the ability to fine tune your machine just more and more and more to where it will perform at a very high level if needed. And really, most of us, that don't, aren't in law enforcement and we're not in the armed services, we're not on our feet on the job regularly. We don't need it, but gosh, it's nice to have. And like if somebody gets hurt or you have to run for help or we talk about it all the time, just being able to play with the kids or be able to if you have to push somebody's car out of the middle of the road or whatever. I mean, there's so many ways that this comes in to play with value in the life outside of the gym that I just can't emphasize the need. We've got to get this piece down. So I love that we're talking about foolproofing diet, and we've talked about the word diet a lot, how that's such a loaded word. All these fad diets rolling around. Diet, from a nutrition standpoint, it's just what you eat.
Right.
When people go, and you've done a very good job of it. I love the way you talk to me about what I eat and what other people, when you approach that with other people, because it's like, hey, you ask, what do you eat? And that's, you don't say, hey, what's your diet? You say, hey, what do you eat? But really, that's the same thing. That you're just using different words. And I think it's wonderful that we're getting away from that word diet. It's just, hey, what do you eat? What are you trying to eat? Some people, like in the keto world, they're trying to eat more fat, or some people in the intermittent fasting world were like, well, I only eat part of the time or whatever. And it's a totally different conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that really when we talk about just what people need to eat to do really well in here in the gym, I'm up here at the office or out there in the world, they play into each other so much. And I've seen, watching on Facebook Live, I saw like 3 people were on and then went down to 1 and went back up to 3 and then down to 2 and back up to 3 and down to 1. So like we were getting people here and there, and I know a couple people are asking for the link later. So I'm just excited to see this momentum start to pick up a little bit more, especially as we get into the open. And I want to thank you for all the time you put into this. I want to, on the next call, maybe we need to put more pictures of our coaches up, and maybe you and Whitney can share before and after pictures from where we were when we started, kind of just asking questions about our own bodies.
Yeah.
And to where we are now. And I think those would be good things to share as we move along. But good stuff. This is a great call. A lot of hot topics.
Yeah. Whitney, are you willing to talk about what changes you've made with your nutrition since you started coaching?
Yes. So I think the biggest thing for me was that I was trying to supplement most of my food with, like a lot of protein bars, a lot of protein shakes, a lot of, I just kind of like went, I just dove into all the processed. And so the biggest change we did for me was take out some of that, put in more real food. I noticed that I am fuller longer, and that I just kind of feel better. So we also talk a lot about that balance between carbs, fat, and protein. And once, Heather helped me kind of get the balance right, my blood sugar is sustained. And that's the key, is that for me personally, when I am way off balance and I'm way high in my carbs or I'm way low in my carbs, my body is just seeking for something. And that's when I usually go to all the things I'm not supposed to have. So I think the biggest change is really making it about balance, not about removing things or overdoing things like protein. It's living life like in a natural state and just keeping that balance. And for me, that's more, it's more life-changing instead of like this super fast, what can I remove to lose a bunch of pounds? I mean, and that's another thing is like, whenever we make it more about fueling for what we do, because what we do requires a lot of fuel, but it needs the right kind. And so when I fuel the right way, then I feel better in the gym. My body's not, lack of things. And so I'm not all out of whack, because I can quickly get into the out of whack state. So I think that's the biggest change, is looking at this, like, when I want to cut everything out, and this isn't a quick fix, nothing in life that's a super quick change. It doesn't last. So I think the best thing about this program is that, hey, this is a long-term solution, and this is to keep us feeling good in the gym, but the gym is just like an hour of our day. Like, what about the rest of life? Right. So, I think this should be the main focus, and it's not about how you look. It's not about, I just want to lose weight and look skinny, but no, I want to feel good and I want to feel strong. And I think that this changes that mindset of that. So a lot of mental changes,
Yeah. And I think that, is it okay for me? I hope
yes.
I say this. Like I think one of the first things that you had said to me in one of your first appointments was, I want to get past that emotional connection that I have with food.
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. It was a lot of like, oh, I feel guilty when I do this, and then I'm so proud of myself when I have a good day. And it was just like, why is it affecting me so much? And so it kind of took the focus off of, I don't know. I'm better at now than to tie out or to Jackson. I'm talking now. Can we make this a no kid zone? Yeah, you can have one. But anyway, so yeah, it's not emotional, because it's long term and not short term. When I wake up and the scale looks a little bit, not like I want it to, I don't have that deep pull inside that I used to have. Like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna have a horrible day. So definitely.
Can we talk about numbers? Like, how much your we don't have to say real numbers, but like, percentage changes. Has your weight changed since you started nutrition coaching?
So I think that like right now I'm probably about 4 pounds lighter. And it fluctuated a little bit. It was like, I kind of, when the holidays hit, I went hardcore. And then when we got back to that balance and like actually listening and doing what I'm supposed to, and just really listening to my body more, then, yeah, I've lost a couple pounds, but I don't know. I'll check my fat percentage soon, but I think a lot of it, maybe a little bit of muscle gain. I don't know. We'll have to see, but
the
so
biggest
far,
thing is mental.
yes,
Okay, so Dawn,
that's over everything.
yeah, Dawn, you requested a picture. Here's my picture.
Wow.
This is
Dude,
yeah.
I'm intimidated now. Gosh, that's
So that
awesome.
picture on the left was my first day of CrossFit. Crazy.
Man,
Not the
killing
same,
it, sister.
but I mean the biggest change, like for me, was mental for sure. Like less of a focus on caring what the number on the scale is or the number on the barbell, even, and more focus on how does food make me feel?
Yeah.
Like having more of a connection with the way that I felt, like knowing, okay, I'm intentionally making this choice today for this, whatever I'm going to eat. And how is my body going to react to that? So, like, having a better understanding of the way that food changes the game for me. Like, whenever we did, well, I can't think of an example, but definitely have seen since I've made the big changes to my intake, as far as like trying to have more whole foods, increasing my veggie intake, focusing more on like the micronutrients and making sure that I'm getting the essential vitamins and minerals and all that kind of stuff, rather than being so focused on like the calories and the macronutrients. And I think that's been good for me. What other questions do you guys have right now? Does anybody on Facebook have questions? Isaac asked for the link for the free nutrition coach session. So I posted the link in the Facebook Live.
Great. Awesome. Very cool.
So kind of a recap of what we're going to have in the nutrition challenge. Again, we're going to be talking about fueling for fitness. So the first week, we're going to talk about how to survive eating food outside of your home, whether that's going to weddings or parties, going to a friend's house, going out to eat at a sit-down restaurant, going to fast food restaurants, going to like a food truck is a thing now. Or if you're a nurse like me and you work in the hospital, and thank you to the city of Lubbock for all of the support that they've had for the COVID heroes and catering food. But that's been a big thing that I've had to help some of my, a couple of my nutrition clients with that work in the hospital, is having food catered to the hospital, and just how to make those choices during those situations. How do I take the food that's put in front of me and make it the healthiest option? And then also the next week after that, we're going to do in-person grocery store tour where we're going to talk about, I think ideally I'm going to try to do Walmart, but we talked about also Market Street. We haven't quite decided exactly where to go yet, but walking around Walmart today, I was like, yes, I need to talk about this because there's some hidden treasures. There really are, like things that you wouldn't expect. And just talking about like, how do I decide between all of these choices for lunch meat, or all of these choices for cheese, or all of these choices for spaghetti sauce, which one's going to be the best one for my family? So making those choices at the grocery store, and then we'll talk about fueling for fitness, like competition day eating before and after workouts, recovery with food, and competition day eating. I think I already said that. And then also we'll talk about the last week is going to be hydration and supplements, and we'll have Lorena from Natural Grocers join us, and she's going to talk about the supplements that they offer at Natural Grocers, that she kind of specializes in that teaching. And I'll talk about collagen, whey, and casein protein. I'll probably talk about like vegetarian options for protein, pea protein, stuff like that. And then caffeine. That's my favorite supplement.
Coffee's free.
Yeah. Caffeine is great. We even give it to the babies.
Caffeine.
All right. All right. I don't see any other questions on the Facebook Live. Thanks for joining me. The cutoff for the Nutrition Challenge registration is going to be Wednesday of next week, because the last day that I will have available for the intake appointments is going to be Thursday of next week, and then I work Friday, and then we go live on Saturday. So now's the time. You know, we talked about one of the best ways to be successful and fail-proof your diet is to have an accountability buddy. So we've given you guys an incentive, and if you sign up for the Nutrition Challenge with a friend, there's a discount. If you get more than one friend to sign up with you, we will consider discounting even more, but just let us know. Whenever you're at the gym, there's a big QR code up at the front of the gym. You can just point your phone at it, and it'll take you to a Google form. And the last question on that form is, who is signing up with you on the Nutrition Challenge? So you can put in a name there, and that'll change the price for us. On that form, it's just a couple of questions that I'm asking you, like, what's your goal for your nutrition? Is it fat loss and muscle gain, athletic performance, and then your email, phone number, name, important stuff. So, alrighty. Well, that's like right in an hour. So I will get this video uploaded. We'll put it on our YouTube channel, and then I'll also save it on Facebook, so you guys can have it to refer back to if you'd like. I don't know. Have we decided? Do we want to do a nutrition talk in February? I'm going to be doing 4.
I think, you know, with the challenge going on, we'll stick with that, and we'll kind of, I don't know, we can play it by ear. Unless something else comes up, probably not. I mean, that challenge is going to be focused on, and it's going to be on point, and I think we're going to be busy enough there as it is, but you know, I don't know if we want to put more fuel on the fire at that point with everything else we got going on, but you know, we'll kind of let the populace speak to us. If people need something, you know, maybe we can do just bounce on and do like a 10-minute quick hits or something once a week or something. Nothing crazy. I don't want to add a lot to your plate. I know you're busy already, but I think that, you know, I don't know. We're covering so much ground in the next 28 days. I'm not worried about doing anything extra. Maybe we'll circle back in March and maybe talk about surviving spring break and when the kids are out of school and things like that. But I think for now, we can just focus on that challenge.
Okay. Thanks,
Cool.
Murray.
Hey, I think Murray's watching
Yeah.
on Facebook, and
We're awesome.
I think if he can find an embody scanner down there in Waco, and he needs to sign up for the challenge. I'm calling you out, Murray. I love you, brother.
Yep, I agree. That'd be good. All right. Y'all have any other questions? All right, I'm not seeing anything on he's eating cake. Good job, Murray. It's good to celebrate. All right. Well, I will go ahead and I will get this video uploaded. Y'all have a lovely Saturday in this wonderful weather.
Thank you, Heather.
Bye. See y'all later.